Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers pregame presented by Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games. Tonight, joining me live in the Xfinity mobile studio, it is Philly's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. Here we are again, Chuck.
We're back.
10 p.m. Eastern pregame show. That's a lot of fun.
This is just like look, we can complain and play up the bid and it's fun. But in all honesty, it is completely unfair to East Coast fans. Like, my view is that, look, you know that East Coast fans are going to have to stay up real late to watch a West Coast game when their team plays on the West Coast. There should be a rule that West Coast teams cannot schedule the game to start at 7:30 their time. It's got to start at 7. Like, it's really crappy that they're starting this game at 7:30 Pacific time. Like, why? Like, you couldn't start it at 7. I know LA traffic is bad, but let's be honest, that place isn't going to be sold out.
No, it's going to be Will Ferrell and like his family there at the game tonight, and that's pretty much it. We are here with you on about 28 or so minutes before Flyers and Kings puck drop. We're going to get into the lineup. We have some news and notes coming out from LA on what the Flyers are going to be icing tonight, all of that. But first, we got to tell you about an article up at allphly.com right now. If you are not a diehard, I don't know what you're doing. You're really missing out. I mean, Fran's NFL draft guide is up there. That right there, price of admission, bang.
True.
Get that done. But so many reasons to be a diehard. I would sign up. One of them, it's Charlie's articles. Chuck, so is it Rick Tocchet's fault they can't score? Just give me the gist.
It is definitely a contributing factor, and his system. I go into the details of, because my view about this type of thing is there's a lot of criticism justifiably being thrown Rick Tocchet's way. But if you're going to criticize the lack of offense, if you're going to criticize the system, let's make sure we're criticizing him for the right things. Like, I see a lot of people talk about, and I mentioned this on the show a couple of times, like, oh, all they do is play dump and chase. That's not actually true. And it's good to actually be criticizing the right things, because there is plenty to criticize, namely that the Flyers play an offensive system that right now involves them basically shooting the puck less than almost any other team in hockey, and they're not creating enough quality at this point to justify that low of a shot volume approach. This article goes in depth about it, and it also goes in depth about what Tocchet could do to fix it, and whether they have the kind of personnel coming that maybe can run his system better. And maybe there is some optimism for that front, but the point I make in the piece is that based on his track record in other places, even that one really good year in Vancouver, even if the Tocchet system is run to, I guess, as what we've seen thus far as its ceiling, the Flyers still probably will top out as about a middle-of-the-road offensive team. Now, you can win as a middle-of-the-road offensive team that also plays great defense. And Tocchet's team, even the Flyers this year, by the numbers, has been a really good defensive team. But it's not exactly fun to pitch to the fans like, hey, don't worry, we'll get to the point where we're scoring at a league average rate, and then we're going to be so good defensively that we're going to win every game 3-1 and 2-1, and fans are going to be like, yay, that sounds awesome.
I mean, like, we've waited so long to be good. If they're good, and I mean fighting for the division every year good,
fair,
it will be acceptable. But if it is just kind of getting back to, yeah, man, good year, we got the 8th seed, like, that will be a tough sell after. Yeah, like, me personally, I want to see playoff hockey. So that first year, I'll be like, hell yeah, way to go, boys. 95 Devils them to death, whatever. I don't care. But then after that, it's going to be like, could we, like, did you watch that Ducks game? That was a lot of fun. Just saying, So we'll see how that all turns out. But make sure you go to allphly.com. Check out Charlie's article and become a diehard, because there's no reason not to. All right, let's get to the Flyers lineup tonight, Charlie. Tonight it will be Sam Ersson between the pipes, 10, 10, and 5 with a .330 goals against. and a real ugly .863 save percentage. Tonight will be his 25th start and 28th appearance.
He has
But
been better
maybe
recently,
a little
though.
reason for optimism.
Yeah, he's been better recently.
2 starts, 3 appearances since the break. He's 2-0-0 with a .940. Granted, it is, 7-period sample size. But it's something. He's been better than he was, which is not tough, but .940, that's good in any version of this game.
Yeah, and look, you knew they were going to play Ersson in one of these two. They get the win in the front half of the back-to-back. This is now, I wouldn't say it's gravy, because the Flyers have put themselves into a position where they basically have to win almost all of their games to have a chance at the playoffs. So you can't say like, well, it doesn't matter if they win this game. But there is an element of, okay, you got the win in the front end of the back-to-back with your better goalie. Now you just see if you can find a way to beat the Kings, who, look, the Kings aren't bad, but they're not great. This is not a top-tier team, like they were in the 2010s, even like they were a couple years ago. Where you're like, oh, man, this team's really going places, and if they could ever get in a playoff run where they don't have to face Edmonton in round one, they might actually go far. This version of the Kings, though, even after getting Panarin, it just doesn't look like a terribly imposing club. The Flyers, this isn't going to be an easy game for the Flyers to win, but it's certainly a winnable one, even with Ersson in net.
I'll tell you what's funny. Like, we did that Minnesota game last week, and we talked about the spot the Flyers were in. Like, even for a good team, it's difficult to do the back-to-back on the road with travel against a rested team. Now, granted, they're not going Philly to Minnesota this time. They're going about 40, 45 miles.
Yeah.
Something like that from Anaheim to LA. But they are in a similar spot again. Rested, True. Coming up against a rested home team. You did travel. You did play last night. The Kings haven't played since Monday. So you are in a difficult spot. But I'm kind of expecting, I mean, it's tough to ever say you're expecting the Flyers to win when, win-loss wise, they're below 500. Like, well, they usually don't. But I am expecting a fairly decent performance from the Flyers tonight, simply because, like, the Kings aren't all that good. And the other issue is Sam Ersson is doing this to spite all of us, Charlie. Like, that's the thing. I find his post-break resurgence annoying, and I assume he will be keeping that up because it's going to, lull Danny Briere into thinking, you know what? Maybe we can have this guy next year. Like, I see all of this happening simply to annoy me, and that's why the Flyers exist, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't share that concern. I think that I think they're pretty out on Ersson as at least as a short-term solution. I guess you never know what can happen down the road, but I think it would take an incredible close of the season for them to and them considering keeping him might be the idea that you've brought up, where it's like, well, we qualify him and then we tell him, hey, you can compete for a job in camp, but there's a decent chance we're going to be sending you through waivers to be the number 3. But even then, I mean, they've got Bjarnason and Kolosov. So is there even a spot for him to be a number 3 in the AHL? That's unclear. I still think the most likely outcome is that he either is traded, like his rights are traded, or he's just not given a qualifying offer and allowed to leave. I think this is more like Ersson playing right now. This is more about trying to convince other teams that he could be a viable option for them in free agency. But look, I guess it's theoretically possible that he goes on a crazy run and they decide, hey, we tried to get a goalie in June and the prices are exorbitant. So I guess we'll run it back with Ersson one more year and hope that he figures something out after the Olympic break. I just think it's unlikely. I think they've decided that, hey, if we want to make the playoffs next year, we need to upgrade our backup position because Sam Ersson literally has like the worst save percentage in hockey.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to read what Kevin Kurz and Jackie are tweeting about the lineup, and it's a little confusing. There's a lot of notes going on. We were told that there are some game time decisions. Jackie's pregame tweet from a little while ago said that we know Sean Couturier is out with an upper body injury. We know Sam Ersson starting, and there are a bunch of game time decisions. So what we're going to do, Chuck, We are going to go to break, and in these 2 minutes, I am going to try to figure out exactly what the hell is going on with this lineup, so we can tell the good people watching, 250 of you at 10 o'clock on a Thursday night for a season that will not end in the playoffs in all likelihood. Much appreciated. Hit that like button, and that'll help us out even more. But we're going to take this break. We're going to figure out what's actually going on with the lineup, and then we'll be back in just 2 minutes. Have you ever had one of those days where you're moving nonstop and suddenly you realize you forgot to eat? Believe it or not, it's happened to me, and that's why I've been loving what Wawa is doing right now. Wawa now has $5 deals all day, and honestly, it just makes life that much easier. If you're starting early, you can grab the $5 big breakfast meal deal. We're talking a sizzly, we're talking a hash brown, and any size hot or iced coffee. That's a full morning win for $5, available from 5 to 11 a.m. Then later in the day, the value keeps rolling with a roasted chicken sandwich or crispy chicken sandwich created your way starting at $5. And they've even got new teriyaki recipes for a limited time. It's real food, real value, and built for busy days. No planning, no overthinking. Just swing in, grab what you need, and keep it moving. Start your day strong and fuel up whatever you need with Wawa's $5 deals. Limited time, exclusions apply. See Wawa.com for details. Gotta have a Wawa. At Bet365, they know the only thing better than winning bets with your own money is winning bets with theirs, and there's never been a better time to do it than right now. Thanks to their Bet $10, get $365 promo available to every single new Bet365 user. All you have to do, sign up, make a $10 bet, and win or lose, you'll be given $365 in bonus bets, because it never hurts to have a little extra cheese or bread or onions. And now, Philly fans, thanks to Bet365's early payout offer, leaving early has never been safer. If the team you're riding goes up 10 at any point in the game, Bet365 will pay you out right there on the spot. Bet365, where winning is everything. Download the app today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Please gamble responsibly. Must be present in PA. $10 minimum deposit required. Bonus bet wager excluded from returns. New customer only. 21 plus, time limits, minimum odds, and T's and C's apply. In-app only, void where prohibited. All right, I think we're back. I lost. There it is. Yes, welcome back to PHLY Flyers pregame. I had a lot of windows open and just kind of got lost there. Charlie, have you seen anything that actually says what the hell the lineup is tonight?
No, so it seems like Kevin Kurz is claiming that, so Sean Couturier, which we haven't talked about, he is out with injury. And it seems like Kevin is also saying that Denver Barkey is out as well. Unclear if that is a healthy scratch or an injury scratch. However, Rick Tocchet did say in the lead up to the game, I believe the people traveling got him about 2 hours before puck drop, that there were many people who were game time decisions. So unclear of Barkey, if indeed Barkey is sitting, if it is a healthy scratch or a banged up scratch. But according to Kevin, those are the two players who are out. And it seems like Jackie, her initial lineup tweet, she deleted. So she might have made a mistake with that initial tweet.
Yeah, because she initially said they were going 11-7, but there was a little confusion of exactly who made that up. Once we get it all sorted out, we can actually talk about it. But honestly, I have no idea what the hell they are putting on the ice as of this moment. We will probably figure that out in short order for you. While we do that, Chuck, we got to take a look at the standings. The Flyers, man, they're 6-2-2 in their last 10. They're 7-3-1 since the Olympic break. That's pretty damn good. But they are still 6 points behind Detroit and Boston, 7 points behind the Islanders in terms of playoff spots. It's still, as you said in the first segment, is like, yeah, they might have to win basically all their games to get in, because it doesn't feel as if anyone is falling off anytime soon, and just the number of teams that they have to jump. I know hypotheticals and breaking up sample sizes like this drive you nuts, Chuck. And I will admit, I know you just can't take out a chunk of the season. I understand this. The 15 games that we keep referencing between game 42 and the Olympic break, they did happen. And they might show you, those 15 games might show you the fatal flaw of this team. Like, yeah, man, you can't consider yourself good if you just fold up for a few weeks. Go 500 or go a game under 500 instead of 3-7-1, and perhaps you won't have screwed yourself, or 3-7-4, whatever they were. You won't have screwed yourself. But they did 3-8-4 stretch. That's what it was from January 8th to February 5th. Outside of that, though, Charlie, they're 29-15-8 on the season. That's a .635 points percentage. Now, as we are very intimate with, they win a ton of games after regulation, so that may skew things as well. But .635 is really good. Like, it's not Colorado or Dallas, but it's a pretty damn good record. And maybe it just gets back to my thing of, yeah, man, we're just going to look back at that January and go, they screwed themselves, but can you take more from the 29-15-8 than you can the 3-8-4 and go, yeah, without those, they're a pretty good team?
No, you can't. And I don't mean this in a bad way, because their current record as a whole, it's not bad. Like right now, I think they're on pace for 93 points. And that's pretty good. Now, in this Eastern Conference, it does not look like that's going to be anywhere close to being enough to make the playoffs. But 93 points is a decent year. It's a dramatic improvement over where they were last year. I do not think, though, that you can say, well, just take out that one stretch and they were a clear playoff team. I mean, that's true, but it's still part of the sample size. I'm never a fan of just removing parts of a sample size and be like, well, aside from the 15 worst games they played in the season, they were a really good team. Like, no, that was part of the sample size. That's part of who they are. So I don't think that's fair. But I do think it's fair to say that, hey, if they continue on this run, even if they don't ultimately make the playoffs. And that's what Danny Briere said on trade deadline day. He basically was like, look, if we were 5 points behind only one team, I would feel better about our chances. But the problem is there are so many teams above us that even if one of those teams falls off, the chances are one of the other teams is going to play really well too, and then we're not going to pass them. That's the difficulty of it. If the Flyers finish out the season and they finish with 93, 94 points, I know that people will be mad that they are going to pick 14th or 15th or whatever. But it's also worth noting that that will be a good record they post. It wasn't enough to make the playoffs. Unacceptable if they're going to go 6 years without a playoff berth. But you could look at it and you could say, all right, well, they were a 93, 94 point team, and that was with maybe the worst backup goalie in hockey, with Matvei Michkov having a sophomore slump, with no Porter Martone. And then you assume they're going to make at least one addition this summer. I don't know at what position. It's a lot easier to go into next year and think, yeah, this team could be a playoff team if they went out and got themselves a decent enough backup goalie. And you start hearing reports that Matvei Michkov is pushing tires up mountains and stuff over the summer.
That's always our go-to.
I think that will help the optimism going into next year, as opposed to if they like let me put it this way. If the final 15 games of this season, they lose 12 out of 15, they completely fall off a cliff. Yeah, that'll help the tank and that'll help their draft pick. And maybe that'll be better for the long term, but it will make it much harder for anyone to buy going into next season that they were just a couple moves away from being in the playoffs. Whereas if you finish with 92, 93, 94 points, the playoffs don't seem that far away for next season if they have a decent enough offseason.
All right, we do have the lineup now, Charlie. According to the Inquirer's Jackie Spiegel, the Flyers will be without the services of Sean Couturier, Denver Barkey, and Luke Glendening, which is disappointing after he played like the game of his life last night. But the Flyers are going 11 forwards, 7 defensemen. The lineup is Trevor Zegras centering Grebenkin and Tippett, Dvorak centering Bump and Konechny, Cates with Grundstrom and Michkov, and then Garrett Wilson finds his way into the incomplete fourth line with Garnett Hathaway, and then we'll have Sanheim, Risto, York, Drysdale, Sealer, Juleson, Andre, all making up the 7 defensemen that we have, with, of course, Sam Ersson starting. I assume Glendening and Barkey are banged up, because I feel like there's no reason to like sit these guys, right?
Well, there's certainly no reason to sit Luke Glendening. He just had the best game of maybe his last 2 or 3 seasons last night. He was fantastic. Barkey, I mean, I guess you could say maybe this is one of those, watch out from above for a game. But it's hard for me to imagine that they would sit him for Garrett Wilson. You know what I mean? And then go 11
and like go 11-7
go
for no
11-7.
reason.
Yeah, just to get Denver Barkey a game from up top. And given what Rick Tocchet said 2 hours before puck drop about there being a lot of game time decisions, my guess, and this isn't coming from any inside information, it's just a guess, it's an educated guess based on what's been said, is that all three of those guys are legitimately banged up, and this is more of a health thing as to why they're going 11-7 and why Garrett Wilson's in the game, as opposed to them being like, yeah, I just need to sit Denver Barkey for a game, and certainly no reason to sit Luke Glendening. That's the best I've seen him play in years.
I know Rick Tocchet and the coaching staff are busy, but you got to keep up with our shows on the days they air. My thing is now they got the message, but they applied my notes to the wrong game. They're a day behind or so, and it wasn't until today that they realized this is the sort of lineup we should be trotting out in Southern California. It's just the wrong opponent.
Well, one thing I do want to point out, because I mean, this is something I'm sure they'll talk about on the broadcast because it's a nice little story. So Garrett Wilson is going to play in this game, presumably. This will be his first NHL game since 2019. He has not, so he has NHL time.
He's played in the NHL.
Yeah, he has, doing some quick math here, he played 34 games for the Florida Panthers in the middle portion of the 2010s, and then he played 50 games for the Penguins in the 2018-2019 season. He has not been in an NHL game since. He's been an AHL guy for 6.5 seasons. And now he's getting another look at an NHL game. That's a cool story. I'm happy for Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, good for him. That's cool. Hopefully he beats someone up tonight. That would be fun. All right, let's talk about the opponent tonight, the LA Kings, real fast, Charlie. They have not played since Monday. They beat the Rangers 4-1 at Madison Square Garden because everybody but the Flyers beats the Rangers, quite honestly. Right. Yep. You look at the scoring numbers. My God, this team scores less than the Flyers do. Which is shocking, quite honestly. They are at 2.63 goals per game. That is 28th in the league. Their power play is 25th. They just are a black hole of offense. When you see their top scorers like Adrian Kempe, 58 and 66, Fiala, 40 points. He's their second leading scorer. Like, this is just a team devoid of offense.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is true, and they've been a defensive team for a while. That said, they did just add Artemi Panarin, and Panarin has 13 points in 11 games since joining the Kings. So that certainly helps their offense because, you're not going to see him on the top scorer list for the Kings because he hasn't been on the team for that long.
He's only played a handful of games.
But he is scoring at over a point per game pace for the Kings. That helps them dramatically. He's obviously a highly, highly skilled player. But no, this is not a team that is chock full of elite level talent. And honestly, I wouldn't say shocked because you never know how guys are going to develop, but I'm disappointed that they have not gotten more high level players because they drafted real high for a while and they drafted a lot of guys who looked like they were going to become stars. I mean, Quentin Byfield being the perfect example of a guy where I really like him. I think he still has the plausible upside to be a point per game impact level player. But then you look at his numbers and he's at 35 points in 64 games. And it's like, shouldn't he be better? Like whenever I watch him, he looks awesome. And then you look at his scoring numbers and they're just meh.
No, we when the Kings were in Philly a few weeks ago, we I think for pregame I broke out. It was a Hockey News Future Watch or Prospect Watch, some special thing where it was like, and look out for the Kings, like from a few years ago, and it was like all these guys, and you remember these names and go, yeah, they should be good because they had all those top, like pretty good draft picks, top 10 picks and stuff, and it's just. Yeah, they're okay. And
yeah, they're fine. They're not bad.
Yeah, and this year they're not even quite like what they've been, like we said in years past. The Panarin move does help them score a bit. I am sure he will factor into tonight's score sheet in one way or another. But overall, it's just not a team that creates a ton of offense. Now, they've been defensively oriented. We all remember, back in 2012 when the Kings win, and it's like, yeah, man, Jeff Carter, 2012, 2014, he scores less, but he's a better player now. Like, oh, okay. And that's kind of been their identity for a lot of this century, but these they're just kind of meh. I feel like the heart has been taken out of the Kings after the 3 or 4 straight losses to the Oilers.
Yeah, there was actually some talk about that. I believe it was on Elliot Friedman's podcast. And basically the idea was that they are still trying to recover from the most recent loss of the Oilers, because that was a series where at times it looked like they were finally going to get over the hump.
Finally did it, yeah.
Yeah, and then they blow it, and the Oilers obviously win the series. But yeah, the Kings, this year was a big thing for them because they were trying to, make Anze Kopitar go out in style. He's retiring at the end of the season. He's obviously going to be, a Hall of Famer, one of the best two-way forwards of his generation. And it just seems like they may kind of be going out with a bit of a whimper. And that's a bummer. I mean, I don't have anything against the Kings, to be honest with you.
No.
I don't dislike that team. I thought they were going to be better given the tons of young talent they stockpiled during their rebuild. And whether it's coaching, whether it's development, whether they just didn't draft the right guys, it just hasn't seemed to play out for them. Now they have a brand new coach. They actually have DJ Smith, who was Scott Lawton's favorite coach. He was Lawton's coach in juniors. That's how
right.
That's how I remember DJ Smith, because I remember when Lawton was on the team, I used to chat with him about he would always say DJ Smith's my favorite coach I've ever played for, and we'd talk about well, what is it that you love so much about him? Well, he was coaching Ottawa for a while, lost that job, and now he is. Is he the interim, or is he actually the full-time head coach? Did they give him that job, or is he the interim? He's the interim. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when Paul Holmgren was still in charge, when he was the GM. I was wearing a Mitchell and Ness Kings hat until the change was made, and it worked out so well. All right, it's time for the Bet365 pregame picks. Download the Bet365 app, sign up with the code PHLY365, deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $365 in bonus bets, whether your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Bet365, where winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in PA. T's and C's apply. In-app only. All right, just one bet tonight, Charlie.
Oh, God. I hate
It's because you don't believe in jinxes. We are going to go with tied after regulation, yes, plus 310. The Kings have the second most overtime games in the league with 25. The Flyers right behind them in third with 24. It's a 10:30 start. Why wouldn't this game go to overtime? And quite honestly, it's almost always plus 300. And this was plus 310. And I was like, but how? Like, this is the one that's likely to go. So we're going to bet some overtime tonight.
What do they know that you don't, William?
Yeah,
do they know for a fact it's not going to go in overtime?
That Sam Ersson is playing and the Flyers are going with 11 forwards. That's what they're doing.
That might be what they know, actually.
All right, let's hit these super chats before we get out of here. First one's from David Shub. Says, Bill, do you eat a lot of cheese? Feels like you do.
That's an odd question.
What's I eat the normal amount. Like there's cheese in a lot of things. I'm not a fan of just cheese itself.
Okay.
Like I'm never gonna take a cheese stick or something out of the fridge. I don't like cold cheese. I need it melted on something.
Okay.
If that answers your question, David.
I think cheese is one of the best foods in human existence, which is why I have to limit myself, because if I don't limit myself, I will eat it in every meal and then get really, really big.
Next one here is David again. Was the slump pretty much them playing Ersson?
That was part of it, but that wasn't the whole thing.
It wasn't the whole thing, but January is the month where Ersson has the most games played.
Yeah, Vladar got hurt for a bit.
Vladar did miss a week and a half or 2 weeks or something. So kinda, but also they stunk. Like they won 3 out of 15. Ersson is better than 3 out of 15, no matter what his numbers are. All right, not much. I'm no fan of Ersson, but every goalie's better than 3 out of 15.
I mean, this version of Ersson's better. The version of Ersson they got in January and December.
Yeah. And J.E. Frucione, I can't remember a Flyers lineup that screamed we need a center more than this one ever. Well, I mean, yeah, they scratched 2 of them. There's 2 centers not playing tonight, and they barely have 4 to begin with.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting game.
I think Carl Grunstrom might be playing some center in this one.
That makes sense. All right, and Hattrick Patrick for sale. Anaheim jerseys with ducks changed to sucks. Quitter on the nameplate and number 0. F Anaheim, F Quitter, go Flyers. My friend once got a Broad Street Bullies t-shirt from Cheesesteak Tees back in the day on South Street, but it was the New York Rangers logo, and you couldn't really tell what, like, it said Broad Street Bullies in there, and so he once got punched because he was wearing it, and it was like, it just looks like a Rangers shirt, man. I don't know what to tell you. So those little jokes that you do, like, yeah, it's a funny idea, but someone's just going to go, no, F Anaheim, and maybe punch you. Just remember that. All right. That is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers pregame, presented by Bet365, where winning is everything. Make sure you're following us right here on the PHLY Sports YouTube. We'll be live as soon as this game goes final with postgame. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers and follow the podcast wherever you get those. I'm Bill. That's Charlie. Thank you, Brenna. Let's go Flyers.